All right, welcome back. So here is what you should have gotten for the last example. I subtracted 2L for both sides. I like to put the variable I'm solving for on the left. And that is equal to P minus 2L. You could have had negative 2L plus P, but it really does not matter. And then divide everything by 2. So some of you might have stopped at this point, which is fine. But we're going to find in Algebra 2, we're going to take it a step further. So I'm going to accept this right now as full credit if this was your answer. But I do want to show you how we're going to do it in the upcoming weeks. When you have a problem like this, it's like the distributive property. You know how when we distribute, if it was 2 times P minus 2L, we would multiply it by both terms. We can actually divide it into both terms as well and to break it into 2. So it would be, we could take P divided by 2 minus 2L over 2, okay? And then one of those terms can be simplified. Now it's a 2. So this one, there's nothing we can do, so we'll leave it as P over 2 minus, these pens. Hold on, that's going to drive me crazy. Guys, you guys are going to find out very quickly that technology really drives me crazy. And I've been known to like throw my smartboard pens, yell and scream when things don't go my way. I just get so frustrated with technology. And this pen, and I spent a good amount of money on this, still just doesn't work like I wanted to. Anyway, back to the problem. So we have P over 2 minus, now this is just like just dividing. So 2 divided by 2 would just be your L. So either one would work, okay? We can, at this point, you can let it that way, but if you want to start practicing taking a bit further, you can break it, you can distribute it into that 2 into both terms, all right? And the only reason we would do that is because it's technically not simplified in this form because those 2 could be reduced. But again, leave it like that, or you can break it down into 2, all right? Let's move on to the next question, the next problem, and this is a nonlinear. So remember we talked about nonlinear. That means one of the reasons makes this nonlinear is you can't have a product of the variables. So this is going to end up being a nonlinear, and it's going to make this like curve thing if we would actually end up graphing it, which we will end up graphing things like this. So what I have here, I have steps written down. So this might be something, maybe get your notebook out and here's the title, and maybe write down these steps as you do it, or take a picture of them. Something so you have, my dog is whining. Something that you're going to see these steps again on the problem that you're going to do on the next slide, and also some of your homework. So they'll come in handy. So we have here 14xy equals 21y plus 35. Can you hear my dogs barking? There they go. I'm going to pause this video 1 second. All right, I had to talk to those guys. So I put steps 1 and 2, I circled them because they kind of go together. So you obviously, because we're solving, which I did not write down, we're solving for a y here. So I want to get the y terms together on one side, and I also have this divide by 7 to reduce the coefficients. This is an optional because you're going to have to, you'll reduce it in the end, okay? But if you look at here, 14, 21, and 35, this is something that you should be looking at now in Algebra 2. You're going to hear this over and over again. Pull out a common factor, get rid of a common factor. Well, a common factor here of all of them is 7. So we could actually divide the whole thing by 7, okay? And that 7 can just go away because we're dividing it all 3 terms. So if we divide everything by 7, we get 2xy equals 3y plus 5. It just allows us to simplify it a lot easier. We're working with smaller numbers. So now we want to get the y terms together. So now look, this has a y and this has a y. We want to bring them together by subtracting. So we're going to subtract 3y. So now 2xy now minus 3y. So why did I write it like that? Because I cannot simplify them. They are not like terms. Remember, like terms have the same variable, same exponent, not like terms. So we're just going to bring down the 5. Okay, so what are we going to do? Because we want it to be y equals. That's our end result. So we're going to move on to step 3. Step 3 is we're going to factor out a y from each term on the left side. So we're going to factor out a y. Now, here we could divide by 7, and when we divide everything by 7, that 7 can just go away. It's just like reducing. However, I can't pull a 5 out of every term. I have 3 terms here. This term, this term, this term. What I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a y here, but it doesn't go away. So what happens is we bring the y out here, and when I factor a y out, let me move this down. What I'm doing is I'm dividing a y out of each one of these. So when I factor out a y here, I'm left with 2x, minus when I factor out a y here, these cancel out, I'm left with 3 equals 5. Okay, so I factored out a y and it's here. So to double check it, if I would distribute, I would get 2xy minus 3y, the exact same expression above. Okay, so we're almost done. Now, because this is y times this expression, get rid of that, times this expression, we're going to just divide. So watch, I'm going to divide everything by what am I multiplying y by? 2x minus 3, that whole binomial. And I do the same thing to the other side. So my final answer is y equals 5 over 2x minus 3. Okay? And I can be done there. Again, if you want to break it into 2, just like we did before, it's 5 over 2x minus 5, minus 5 over 3. Now, I will tell you, there's no real reason to do this because I can't simplify 5 over 2 and 5 over 3. But you know what? Like I said before, either one works, okay? So you're on your own now for the next one. You are going to apply these same rules. Now remember, rule 2 doesn't apply to everyone, and I'm actually going to give you a hint here. This is your problem, okay? It's S equals 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. So this is your surface area formula, okay? You are going to solve for W. Now, every year I have students raise their hand and say, hey, let's just divide everything by 2. We don't want to do that. And I'll tell you why. Because that S does not have a 2. And I don't want to add a fraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the W's first. So here's my W and here's my W. Let's keep them together. We're going to move that term over and then divide it out. So good luck. Give it a try, okay? And then I'll go over the answers with you on the next slide.